Good afternoon, everyone. Waiting for another minute as some people still need to join. Meantime, welcoming everyone here. And we will start in about 40 seconds. All right, let's start. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining the webinar. Just to give a small introduction to who is presenting today. Obviously, we have Jiri, James, Thomas, Shlomi from Databricks, Stuart from Eviden, and myself from Databricks Healthcare and Public Sector, responsible from the Benelux in Databricks. So handing over to you, Jiri, small introduction to Eviden.
Hello to everyone. My name is Jiří, and I'm head of life sciences AI in Eviden, a partner company of Databricks. Eviden is a global business based in France, and our part we will be talking about is the Databricks Partnership Center of Excellence, part of Eviden. And in the Center of Excellence, we have more than 200 certified Databricks experts. We have been the first partner of Databricks since it started in Europe, already 7 years cooperating together. So we are here on this call or this webinar together on the topic of the data, how to migrate data, how to migrate use cases, everything, how to get ready in Databricks. So we are both on board. Thank you.
Thank you, Jiri. And of course, our data and AI platform has grown over several years now, starting in 2013. We're now almost 7,000 employees worldwide. And we are a recognized leader in data and in AI. Obviously, within healthcare and public sector, we have an ecosystem that is already using use cases to become more data-driven, running use cases like migration, but also Gen AI and streaming use cases, IoT use cases, several. So we're here to learn what we can do and how to start on Databricks. And in the meantime, if you do have questions, please put them in the chat, or we are with a small audience, so feel free to ask them. So looking at healthcare, we do see several industry trends. So we need to work together in an ecosystem, share data, work on the patient 360, and make sure that we can make work more efficient with data and get that unified profile. So we're here to help you to learn how to do that. Within the Benelux, we do have several customers already within the academic hospitals, universities, mental health care, disabled care, and clinical environments. So now we need to learn a little bit more about why Databricks, so how to start and what can the platform offer you as an organization. So I'll hand over to my colleague Shlomi, and he will take it from here. Thank you.
Hi guys, I'm Shlomi, Solutions Architect at Databricks, and basically today we'll talk about Databricks and why it's good to use it for the healthcare industry. So when we look today at the data maturity curve, we see two different trends going on. One is the what happened trend, which basically means, which actually the vast majority of customers are actually in this area as well. What happened? Meaning we always we always know what happened in the past, but we can't predict what will happen in the future. And basically, most organizations today, with all the Gen AI capabilities that are out there, want to mature their organization to the what will happen phase, meaning take the data lake into AI phase. How do we do predictive modeling or automated decision making? And obviously, it relates very much to the healthcare industry as well. So we are trying to mature organization from the what happened phase into the what will happen phase. So it's important to talk about why organizations even struggle with data and AI. So usually we see, I think that the most common reason for it is the siloed and fragmented views of patients. Okay, we have multiple systems, we have multiple data sources, and it's very hard to understand what exactly is true or where do we get the data from and stuff like that. Also, we have a technology gap. And this means that we have legacy system that needs to be maybe integrated with a more modern system, which is very hard to maintain. And this integration usually requires a lot of time and effort. And we see a lot of the time that these attempts are even sometimes failing because of the lack of knowledge and the lack of maturity in the organization. Basically, also leaping from descriptive to predictive. This is also something that is kind of a change in like the state of mind of how customers, instead of being reactive to situation, they want to be proactive, which is also something that is very important. And I think also an important topic is the lack of real-time capabilities. So we want to be able to analyze a patient in real-time manner, maybe give a diagnosis or maybe give a better medicine and stuff like that. So all of those are obstacles in the way of maturing customers to move towards data and AI capabilities. We also find out that a lot of the time it depends on the data platform. So this means that we want to be able to take these different use cases that I just talked about and maybe having them in one place. And these use cases can be either machine learning, and it could be just a data lake, if it's data science, BI, governance, all of these different use cases. It's very hard to have all of them in one place, basically to answer all of the different use cases with the customer service, finance, or marketing, operation, and stuff like that. So when we look on what are the challenges and why they are there, basically we see that data, AI, and governance are siloed, which we understand it's different infrastructure. Data privacy and controls are challenged by AI, and we see that also with the EU Act regarding AI. And it's very dependent on the technical staff on the organization, and not all organizations have technical staff that are able to answer those requirements. So what if, and there is, a platform that you will be able to have a data lakehouse, meaning open and unified foundation for all of your data assets, add to it a generative AI capabilities, and basically you get the data intelligence platform, which basically Databricks relies on. And this means that you are able to democratize data and AI across the entire organization or multiple organizations. We have that in many cases, also obviously in healthcare as well. And basically Databricks is it. So when we say Databricks democratize data and AI, we can see that Databricks is the platform that can answer the vast majority of your data use cases. This means, first of all, we are cloud agnostic. This means that you are able to use any one of the cloud vendors, if it's AWS, Microsoft, or Google. You are able to have all of the data in one place, or even in multi-cloud, and basically able to share the data with different personas within the organization or outside the organization, without having to copy it and without having to add additional technologies in order to support that as well. So it's out of the box, everything supported within Databricks. When we look at what are the capabilities, or maybe in more details of what does it mean to have a data intelligence platform, and especially in healthcare, this means that we can take care of all of the data sources. This means it can be structured data from like ERP systems or any other databases you have in the organization, maybe electronic health records from different systems, PDFs for patients, video and images, which we have many customers doing it, IoT and event system, if it's sensors from the different machinery, marketing data, obviously the traditional ERP and billing and transactional system. And with that, we are able to do that in various ways according to the customer SLA, meaning if it's unstructured, structured data, batch, real time, and basically able to have all the data in one place across multiple cloud with one unified and governance section, and able to process it and basically bring the data and serve the data with different personas in the organization. And this can be either patient engagement, maybe productivity, efficiency from operational point of view, innovation. All those use cases can be with one platform. These are just a bunch of examples. We have customers using us. So for example, CareSource, which basically predicting high-risk pregnancies just by gathering all the data with Databricks and having predictive analytics on top of it. If it's providing reports for Providence, for example, basically focusing on care delivery for their customers. If it's innovation, meaning FDA-approved digital screening tool to detect autism, for example. And Johnson & Johnson, which obviously it's I think everyone knows them. From a productivity point of view, more than 35 supply chain ERP sources into Databricks and basically able to analyze everything in a fast and easy manner as well. There are many more examples of how Databricks can help different customers, and this means that we can answer the different objectives through the healthcare industry. If it's accelerating drug discovery and delivery, reducing hospital readmissions, healthcare delivery, supply chains, personalized medicine, many use cases that we can add and do with the platform itself. On top of that, we are built on open foundation. This means that you are able to use almost any platform your organization uses on top of Databricks. If for any use cases, if it's either ML and AI, if it's BI, data governance, different data sources, orchestration, Databricks basically can integrate with vast majority of sources as well, and basically allows you to keep all the infrastructure you have today and also use Databricks as the data source for it. We also have a collaboration with the Databricks Marketplace, meaning in one click you are able to connect with the different healthcare and life science data on Databricks. So each one of the providers is just a simple click, and you are able to get a notebook, use the different technologies of the partners in order to just start POCing if it's data or capabilities with the different providers. So this is something, again, out of the box. You are able to use it just with one click of a button in the Databricks Marketplace. So again, making you successful in really easy manner. And if we are talking about getting started, then there are multiple ways of getting started. One of them is basically a solution accelerator. So if we look at the traditional approach we have today, in order to do a POC, it kind of takes a long time to do a POC on a specific use case. And this means that we need to do research and prepare data and develop models and coding and stuff like that. With Solution Accelerator, basically, you can just start the POC. And Solution Accelerator for healthcare basically it's a set of ready to go materials, if it's either notebooks, data, models, queries, anything you need to just start a POC. For example, we want to have a chatbot that we want to ask maybe a medical question, so we can do that as part of the accelerator. And if it's a research, real-world evidence, if it's a personalization, automation of operations, and interoperability, all of those use cases, you can download the solution accelerator, use it, and see, and basically POC Databricks in just a few minutes without the need of doing anything. And when we talk about healthcare, usually we talk about security and compliance. And this means that we take it very seriously in order to be compliant with the different regulations around the world. And for that, we use something called a Unity Catalog, which is part of Databricks' security capabilities. And today, when we see the why security and governance is complex, is because there are different personas in the organization that uses different technologies in the organization that needs to serve different personas in the organization. So this means that it's kind of a matrix of security and governance capabilities that needs to be in place in order to make it work, and also in order to comply with healthcare regulation. So this is not something trivial that any data platform can use. And obviously, when you use multiple data platforms, the integration of it is something that can take time, and it's really something that can complex the entire solution. And when we see why it is so complex, so again, if it's a fragmented view of data and AI state, if it's access management, monitoring and observability, data sharing, which is something that is really important, how you share data, how you monitor the data you shared, who can access to it, and stuff like that. So with Databricks, you have something called Databricks Unity Catalog, which basically means one security and governance model across your entire use cases. This means any use cases inside Databricks is governed by Unity Catalog. And this means if it's BI, data engineering, streaming, data science, and it basically covers the entire permission model up into a row level and even column level security, and also the access to the different objects within Unity Catalog, access to models, access to tables of views, access to notebooks, or access to basically any aspect of the platform itself. One thing to note is Unity Catalog goes open source. So when we talk about an open platform, this is something important to mention. This means that you can work with Unity Catalog even if you're not working with Databricks, and we are open sourcing Unity Catalog. This one was announced in Data and AI Summit a few days ago. So this is really good news for customers that say, okay, I don't want to be vendor locked into Databricks, and I might want to be using my own catalog. Unity Catalog is going open source, so you can use it even outside with Databricks as well. So what Unity Catalog basically is. So Unity Catalog is a set of features that allows you to do all security and governance capabilities within Databricks. This means discovery, access control, lineage, data sharing, auditing, monitoring, and it means for any types of objects within Databricks, either tables, files, models, notebooks, dashboards, anything you might think of. And basically, Unity Catalog unlocks the value. It accelerates innovation. It reduces the platform complexity because you have just one layer that's responsible for all the use cases. It mitigates risk to ensure compliance. It can collaborate between the teams for data. Unity Catalog basically is the answer for security and governance and compliance within Databricks. So this is something that obviously customers in the healthcare industry will use. Few examples of capabilities. So we have unified visibility into data and AI. This means we can discover and classify structured and unstructured data. consolidate queries with other databases. We can do a query federation for multiple sources. Have a better understanding with the automated lineage tags and auto-generated metadata. And also using natural language, we are able to transfer text to SQL or text to code just by using Databricks Assistant in order to do that as well. So this is also part of Unity Catalog. We have single permission model. This means that you have a unified and simple interface for managing all auditing and data access. Enable fine-grained access control. This means even on a row level or a column level security, you are able to also apply that. If it's column masking or row masking, stuff like that, you can do that as well. And obviously, open interface, you can do everything with API as well as the UI. One thing that we also announced in Data and AI Summit is attribute-based access control. So let's assume you have personal data, okay? So you can tag and also even automatically tag your data based on a specific requirement. So let's assume we have personal data. Once we tag those data assets, tables or views or any other object, we are able to give permissions based on those attributes. So let's assume all the developers has access to personal data. And this means that the entire permission model and permission access becomes much easier to manage instead of just going asset by asset and trying to understand if we need to give permissions, yes or no. So this is something that is also announced in Data and AI Summit and supposed to be released soon. We have AI-powered monitoring and observability. Basically, you can receive proactive alerts on your machine learning model. Real-time data lineage. Okay, we want to connect the different data assets, so we want to understand which data asset use what else. Auto-generated dashboard, also easily with ML. And observability for billing, auditing, lineage, and more using system tables. Again, out of the box with Databricks. And one of the last one is open data sharing, the ability to share data even outside from Databricks. So let's assume you want to share data with a partner or with maybe a patient or maybe with anyone that is not even using Databricks. So you're able to do that with using the Databricks delta sharing. You are able to share more than just data. It can be notebooks, machine learning models, dashboards, and etc. You can explore and monetize data products with the open marketplace we have, like I showed you before. And you can also collaborate with partners with something called clean rooms. This means that you and the partner go into basically a DMZ of data and processing engine. And once the collaboration is ended, basically none of you can have access to either the data or the code. Basically, it's like a virtual meeting room that you are able to share data, code, and basically do the work together again. As mentioned, so basically your data security is a priority. This means that you are able to build a secure and trusted platform with the Databricks Unity Catalog, meet regulatory requirements. Again, if it's either HIPAA or PCI DSS or FedRAMP, and obviously it can be other regulations as well. And you are able to protect and control your data by using customer managed keys, the Unity Catalog. So basically, your security and governance is covered from all sides. Last but not least, so again, why Databricks? Because Databricks is the only platform that is open. Basically, as mentioned, you can use that if you can use it even outside of Databricks because the projects are open source. It's fully secured, as mentioned. Can work on any cloud vendor, it doesn't matter. Handle all data use cases and also integrate with a huge ecosystem, as mentioned with the marketplace and partners. And I finished, and back to you, Stuart.
Thanks, Shlomi. I think if we can move on. So, hi guys, my name's Stuart Beach. I look after our healthcare and life sciences business within Eviden. If you can move on. So, as Shlomi's talked about, there are a number of, I suppose, macro challenges and also, I would say, aspirations that we see across most healthcare systems at a global level. And I think, when you boil it down, it's kind of all about patient experience. It's all about making sure that the quality of care provided to patients is as good as it could be, that quality of interactions are as good as they possibly could be, and also making sure that that care is all centered around the patient, and actually preferences are respected, needs and values of patients are also respected. What I would also say with this, though, is it's not just about patients, it's about staff. Staff in all healthcare systems have had huge challenges over the last couple of years to deal with. So really, for me, and what we see is a real focus around ensuring the well-being and satisfaction of healthcare providers is really focused on and reducing burnout, making sure that time is maximised and job satisfaction is maximised, and that kind of moulds in with patient experience. Cost is always key, so really any opportunity to really take eliminate duplication, eliminate waste, improve efficiency, and implement cost-effective care practices, whilst you still focus on high standards of care. Developing value-based healthcare solutions, really improving the health of populations, making sure that that we enhance the overall health of populations and by addressing social determinants of health, and actually we reduce any health disparities and promote preventative care. So prevention is always better than cure. And as Shlomi talked about, security and total trust and compliance is vital across all of these different things. All of these, of course, are kind of interconnected. So you can achieve some of each of these areas, but you can't achieve all of them unless you look at the combination. You can move on to the next. So what I'm looking at here is really a kind of, I suppose, a very simplistic view of what an existing healthcare system may look like and how an existing healthcare system is configured. And quite often we will talk about the impact of doing this within a specific organization. But of course, when we're talking about population healthcare, it's important that we look across the whole of the system to be able to spot trends. So, moving from what you typically see at the bottom here, which is organizational silos of data, which Shlomi touched on earlier, in either departmental systems or even within an organizational system, an electronic patient record, and being able to access that information and do something with that information, either at a kind of persistent data layer level. So that once you've got that information into a secure environment, that you can start doing interesting things around the key topics that I've just talked about and that Shlomi talked about. What I'm going to hand across to Tomasz now, just to sort of talk about, well, how does this happen in practice?
Yes. So hello everyone. My name is Tomasz and I'm from DataSentics and Eviden business. And so far we've heard what's Databricks, what are some kind of the typical use cases that we do inside of the Databricks. And now I would like to show you how we can deliver it on top of Databricks. So let's get to it. So on the left side, we can see that we have usually a lot of data sources. We can have data sources from multiple various data locations, from various hospitals, various types of hospitals, And also the data that we are getting are of variant structures. It can be unstructured data, structured data, images, some logs from the CT machines, whatever. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to ingest the data into Databricks. Luckily, Databricks allows us to work with any kind of data, and to ingest the data into Databricks, we use a special metadata framework which we developed for our clients, in where we can easily set which data from which data source needs to be ingested. Once we have all the data in cloud in various data formats, be it CSV, XML, or HTML5 or DICOM, we set up the Unity catalog and we input all of our data into the Unity catalog. Since the compliance and security restrictions in this industry are quite strict, even though we have just one Unity catalog, we still split it into multiple storage locations in the Unity catalog so that the data from various hospitals are kept separated. Because the setup of the Unity catalog can take some time until we talk with the security, with the compliance, that it's okay to process the data with the cloud. And we don't want to wait for all of this to start delivering our use cases. We also always set up a sandbox. And in this sandbox, the data scientists and data engineers in Databricks can already start working with the data and delivering some interesting use cases. And what sandbox means? It means that here we are operating only on anonymized synthetic data, so no real-world production data here. So even if something were to happen and some data leak would be happening, it's not a problem because the data is anonymized. So now we have all the data in Unity catalog. And the next thing we need to do is we need to set up the Databricks workspaces. In these Databricks workspaces, we always deploy them into a separate virtual network, completely separated from the public internet, only available from the internal systems of the hospitals, so that no one from outside can access the Databricks workspaces. With the Databricks workspaces, those are the traditional Databricks workspaces where you can carry out any type of work. You can code Python, R, Scala, SQL, whatever you would like to. And the variety of use cases is big. So if each of the workspaces that we deploy any additional services or cloud resources that are needed. One of the needed cloud resources might be the ChatGPT model, or another one might be some GPUs in order to work with the images. To allow the work with machine learning models, we always use MLflow, and now with the Databricks acquisition of Mosaic ML, we also use and make available the Mosaic ML library so you can train, fine-tune, and deploy your own large language models. And how we do it is we deploy a separate Databricks workspace for each team that will be operating in Databricks. So if you are a team working on one use case and then another team working on some another use case wants to join, then they will get their own Databricks workspace. We can set up our own security rules. We can set up the cost monitoring so we know who spent how much, and we can set up nicely the access rules. With this, we almost can deliver our work in Databricks, but usually we need a few additional services. We need the Git repository to log to put all of our code into the Git. We need some audit logs and some monitoring services. We need some visualization engine, for example, Tableau or Power BI, to help interpret the results for our managers. And of course, we all like to code in the VS Code or PyCharm. So this is, again, something that we need to set up. If we would be working in some other sector, this would be probably easier to set up, but here in the health industry, it always takes a bit of time to set all of this up. And then To enable nice collaboration and nice ways of working, we always establish the Center of Excellence for onboarding into the Databricks workspaces to enable the people how to code in Databricks so that the Databricks looks easy to them, etc. And also for the users in between each another that they can share the best practices between them. And as far as the governance goes, we reuse your single sign-on, maybe use Okta, maybe use Azure Active Directory to reuse it across all the Databricks workspaces that you are using. And then with this, we can develop and deliver the Databricks use case, but we still need a way how to share the data out. So to share the data out, we create an API layer or data export and inference layer in which is used then to integrate with the patient portal. So patient portal, you can imagine as an application where you have all the information about the patients, and also some hospital portals and some public dashboards. So all these applications then can consume the data easily from Databricks workspaces. And just to recap it then, if you would need help with any of this, we from Eviden are happy to help it with you. And some of the key aspects of this architecture is that, of course, it's secure and compliant, and it allows you to work with any kind of data. So if you need to work with unstructured, structured, with LLM models, with GPUs, etc., it's all available in the Databricks deployed. We also have all the best practices. So if you are thinking about some naming conventions, some architecture for your data, or some operational processes for production, MLOps, DevOps, or DataOps, here it's all provided with the platform. And to accelerate it for you, we already have a lot of this infrastructure written in the Terraform code. If you don't know what Terraform is, it's a programming language that you can use to set up your infrastructure. So we can just take this code that we have available here, deploy it in your organization, and then the setup is much faster and easier. And we also have some frameworks and accelerators for some of the use cases, for example, for the digital pathology. And with that, that's all from my side, and it goes to you, Iji.
All right, thank you. And now, as we are coming to the end of our presentation, I would like to summarize with a specific example of a migration to Databricks. And I would like to tell you about a story about the reference for a global medical technology company. This company is a producer of a vast amount of CT scans. It has thousands of CT scans present in hospitals, and they're basically taking care of the technical functionality of these scans. Of course, these scans, they produce a lot of logs, a lot of information about how they run smoothly. And there's a lot of interesting data, right? It's used for government compliance reports, but also it can be used to optimize the performance and the uptime of these machines. So currently these logs, or before the migration, they were stored in a on-premise MS SQL server, and it certainly had limitations with this amount of CT scans producing tens of terabytes of data daily. They just could not scale anymore. Also, the reporting capability of MS SQL was quite limited, and the people who wanted to ask questions about specific functionalities or how to optimize the scans, they would create a backlog of queries, and then a specific analyst would have to run these queries for them, and maybe in a week come back with the answer for these questions. After the migration, so we've built together with the client a cutting-edge platform on Databricks where we migrated all these use cases. And one of the benefits, or the strongest benefit, was basically the speed of getting these analysis done. Yeah, we not only sped up the time to get the answers, but we also democratized using Databricks the access to the data. What it means that not only these analysts could analyze the data, but everyone who had a question, even people who did not really have any knowledge about how to write a SQL query, they now, using new feature called Databricks Genie, can write direct questions in natural language, and they would get the answers immediately. So using Databricks, you could scale more. You can have your data use cases democratized. So it's definitely a benefit. You can get more from the data treasure that you are getting and that you have. And you could also build more use cases. One or more use cases also is minimizing downtime of the machines. Of course, this is a precious time. If you have a CT scan in hospital, you need it available as much as possible, right? So the producer could minimize the downtime by using predictive maintenance AI, which could basically know before there would be a downtime of a specific part, and they would order the specific part as soon as possible and get it delivered to the specific hospital. Yeah, so overall, I would sum up that Databricks could scale more what they are having because there were limitations on the former solutions, and it could also bring any of the mentioned benefits and features that all my colleagues mentioned during this call. Yeah. So, and also it was democratized. The data could be easily accessible by more teams in the company. Okay, so now we are coming to the end of our presentation, but definitely this is not the end of the webinar. So I would like to give you time for your questions. All my colleagues are available. Maybe we can all show up again on the cameras. And if you have any questions, we can directly answer them. So you can write into chat, or you can, I think, ask directly. Definitely the presentation is recorded, so it will be available for all the participants who registered on this webinar. So you can get a link. So there were questions regarding the recording. Yes, it was recorded, and you can get the complete recording, including the presentation. We can also share a PDF separately, so you can have a video and a PDF of the presentation. So last moment, if there are any questions. Can be technological, can be just business type of question. I think related to the topic.
Jerry, I've got a quick point to raise and to bring in James, who runs our data science practice here in the UK. So we've seen a number of opportunities to work with large sets of data across the healthcare system. I wonder whether you could just sort of summarize for the guys on the call some of the examples of where you'd see this type of solution or technology really helping to accelerate some of that work.
Sure, thank you, Stuart. I think that this is a kind of really good point, especially in the kind of healthcare and life sciences sector. So there are a lot of projects where we look at large quantities of data. Some of it is structured data, so we might have in-depth patient records, Other elements may be unstructured data, for example, doctors' notes, letters to and from hospitals, or unstructured data in terms of things like scans and medical images and diagnostics that actually sometimes all have to be fused together. Having the appropriate set of platforms and tools like this to pull these things together is certainly not everything, but it is an incredibly powerful step forwards for handling some of these data. And a lot of the benefits that we've seen around that are not just, here is a project, does it help this project? Yes, it's helped the project, therefore there's lower cost and so on. A lot of the benefits that we've seen from platforms like this are very much around being able to do more. So if you lower the cost of being able to run a piece of analysis, build a machine learning model, put a program in place to take advantage of some savings that can be generated here, the more you drive down the cost, the more of these things that you can afford to do. And the more of these things that generate a positive rate of return on the investment that you put in. So looking at things like predicting, say, for example, patient outcomes, or when a patient's going to be discharged, or what the potential risk factors are there. Whether it's something that we've done with COVID, or with long diseases that can affect the elderly, or whether we're looking at some of the data around screening, as we have done in Scotland, and looking at use cases around optimizing the use of data there. The ability to handle data at this scale does give some really powerful benefits coming out of that.
Okay. And we do have a question in the chat there, James, about any experience that we may have around COVID-related data, or any, I mean, data is data at the end of the day, but any specific experience in terms of, either pandemic type data or COVID-specific data?
Yes, we've got a couple of projects spring to mind. So one, I believe, is from the Netherlands with the Erasmus Hospital there, where we're looking at some COVID data sets and being able to make predictions around that. The notable thing around that was the speed with which the project was spun up and delivered. That to be able to get all the governance in place to ingest the data, to build the algorithms, and to report on the outputs. Yes, I think there were some refinement cycles there, but it was a matter of weeks to get some of these results out, which, as you'll appreciate, within the context of a pandemic and where everything is changing week on week, and you need to respond to things quickly, was quite important. The other one was actually in the UK with the Ministry of Defence, and this is one that I believe is around the Nightingale hospitals that were set up, and the ability to support those and work out which locations were going to be the appropriate locations for deploying these hospitals, and to deploy these resources there. So elements of predictive analytics there, predictive machine learning, and some optimization feeding into those.
Thanks, James. Do we have any other questions? Katya, maybe we can hand back to you.
Then Katya, I think you're mute. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
we can. So I think we've almost reached a natural conclusion or a natural end. I don't believe we've got any more questions on the chat.
I have no.
we can hear you now, Katya.
Yeah.
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 We can hear you.
Now you can hear us? All right. Okay, good.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Well, yeah, so I think we did cover the information that we wanted to discuss during this webinar. Of course, if anyone or any organization wants to deep dive a little bit more in topics that we discussed and do like a personal or a dedicated session, please let us know afterwards. We will share the recordings. We will share the PDF and slides as well. So I hope you can find us through our email addresses or LinkedIn, of course, as well. Follow up with us on the boot camps. We will actually send them also on LinkedIn, but also on the website of Databricks. And please join us for the World Tour course also in Amsterdam on the 14th of November. In the meantime, we're here to help you with your questions and let us know once we can support.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
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 Thank you all. Goodbye.